Hey, what's going on, everyone? Evan and John here from BattleHawk Armory. We are out at the range again today, and it's not just the two of us. We've actually brought 4 people out from the shop today. And aside from the fact that we all work at BattleHawk Armory, we all have one other thing in common, which is that we all own Staccato XCs. So what we wanted to do is bring everybody out with their Staccato XCs today and kind of talk about why they decided to buy those pistols and what they actually do with them. So this is going to be another continuation of the actual product that we own and use series of videos that we're doing here. So I'll let John go ahead and kick us off talking about his Staccato XC and what he uses it for.
So mine's pretty basic. All I did is threw a Surefire X300 on it and a RMR that I've had for a while. Other than that, it's pretty factory. No pinned magwell, or no pinned beaver tail, no aftermarket magwell stock grip. I'm pretty lucky to have this gun, honestly, but it's the best gun I've ever shot. From a duty perspective, which is kind of my background, it would be fantastic. I wish I had it when I was working the street.
Yeah, so the Staccato XC and many Staccatos are actually approved for duty use with a lot of different departments, and that's essentially what you were kind of going for. X300 is kind of the known commodity as far as the best pistol-mounted light. Trijicon RMRs, tried and true, really good track record. All of these XCs come optics cut. They're all compensated. They're all single action pistols. So very reliable, very good shooting pistols, kind of like what you alluded to. Now you do have one other non-standard feature on your particular Staccato XC, John, which is the trigger. So what did you have Staccato do there?
So when I ordered it, it was something new they were doing where you could get a flat aluminum trigger, and that has been incredible in my opinion. I don't know, just because I got these big bear mittens, but that little bit of extra length really feels good in the hand when I'm shooting. And it is the 2.5 pound setting as opposed to more of a duty 4-ish, give or take, pound trigger. And best trigger I've ever shot on a handgun.
So again, kind of a general purpose, duty style of Staccato XC. I have mine right here. Obviously you can see mine looks a little bit different. I have kind of taken the opposite route, a hard 180 if you will. So generally the Staccato XC for me is a competition pistol, so I will use this for any sort of competitive shooting sport where I can get away with using a compensator, an optic, and a single action style of pistol. So they are very high capacity. Staccato generally sends these with like 17 and 20 round magazines. I have some Atlas magazines for mine, so I can bump the capacity up to about 29 rounds for most stages, which is a tremendous amount of capacity. So the Atlas mags would largely be the first thing that I changed out. Aside from that, the grip obviously catches a lot of eyes. This is a Phoenix Trinity Villain grip. I really like the Phoenix Trinity grips. They feel great in the hand. A little bit better ergonomics and texture than just the factory polymer Staccato grip. My only complaint about the grip itself is that this particular grip kit does not deactivate the grip safety. That is something that I struggle with because I have a little bit smaller hands. So I went ahead and made a custom modification on there and removed that grip safety with a piece of really high quality electrical tape. So that is modification 2 and 3. On the bottom I do have a Dawson Ice magwell. I've been using those for years. Love them. Make reloads really quick. I do have an Atlas Gunworks trigger in this as well, so it's similar to what you had Staccato do. It is an aluminum trigger. I prefer curved triggers. John, you prefer flat, so tons of options there because there are lots of aftermarket options. Also with Atlas Gunworks, I've swapped out the safety. These are their carry ambi high grip safety, so these just allow me to get a little bit higher up on the pistol and also shoot it right or left-handed without it feeling any different. So similar to the factory Staccato safeties, they're just slightly upswept. On top, the last thing that I did is I put a Vortex Comp Dot and or Defender. This one in particular is a true Defender XL. I have an absolute ton of these optics at this point for a range style pistol. They're one of my favorites. Really large window, shake awake, so when I forget to turn it off, it's still on when I need it the next time. And this particular one is the 8 MOA version because I like big dots and I cannot lie. So this has been a great pistol for me. I have a lot of fun with it, shoot a lot of gun games with it. So kind of totally different from what you do with yours. However, same base model pistol, same great product, just lots of different things you can choose to do with these. We'll go ahead and shoot some drills, have a little bit of fun with these things, kind of shake them out, and have a little bit of friendly competition at the end of the day here. All right, so we're going to start out the day like we normally do with some bill drills. So got a target down range at 7 yards. We're just going to draw from the holster with our Staccato XCs, try to shoot 6 rounds in the center of that target as quickly as we can.
So the XC is also the first compensated gun I ever owned. You can definitely tell there's less recoil. It shoots flat, shoots fast. I'm not as fast as Evan, but I don't have as much time doing what he does either. Just an overall great feeling gun with recoil and handling. By far the best handgun I've owned.
All right, Jordan here, and I didn't get to be in the little bench breakdown of the Staccatos, so I'm going to give you a quick rundown of mine right here. I kind of think of mine as a bridge between the two, between John and Evan's. Because I have a Vortex Defender, comp dot rather, 6 MOA, big window, more of a competition-oriented optic. It is very duty usable, it's sturdy, but it is obviously with a huge window, more competition-oriented. But I also have a Surefire X300, and I have not gone so far as to change out the grip for something else, which might potentially void the warranty. So I still want to be able to use it as a duty gun, but also be able to go out and shoot a competition with it if I want to. And the only real modification that's been made to it is this little bit of tape here to hold the grip safety down from the Nichols Cornfield Institute TM.
There you go. Wild, but...
Yeah, I dropped a lot of Charlies on that, but... So one thing I've noticed about shooting the XC is the compensator works on it tremendously well. I've shot other guns that have a compensator added onto it afterwards, and those do a good job of mitigating recoil and keeping the muzzle down, but this feels like it was meant to have that compensation from the beginning, which works together as a system really well.
There you go. One more. And I think that was all alpha.
I think this thing's awesome.
So this thing's a blast to shoot. It has just enough recoil that you can kind of bump it to your next target and just keep your dot moving 1 and 1 and 1 every time, and it's super easy to take that plate down pretty fast.
All right, so I definitely had some sub 3 second plate rack runs out of the holster. Truth being told, I'm not shooting my best today. I have not been shooting this pistol or pistols with optics on them very much recently. Been dabbling with some iron sights for silly reasons, but that all being said, the pistol does track really well. It takes me a little bit of time to adapt to the presentation difference, but again, sub 3 second plate racks. The dot with the large window and the comp up front tracks really, really well. I can very easily follow it as I fire a shot and just drive that dot as it lifts right into the next plate. So there were definitely a couple really good runs in there. Pistol shoots fantastic. Definitely a good pistol for what I do with this pistol. All right, so everyone is pretty well warmed up at this point with their Staccato XCs. We've shot some bill drills, done some reloads, shot a little bit of steel. What we're gonna do next is we're gonna have a little friendly competition. We have basically a miniature stage, kind of a mock stage set up out here that we're all gonna run for score, shoot a little bit more dynamically. This stuff is super easy to set up and a lot of fun to do if you take some friends out to the range. Competition is always fun, especially when you start smack talking a little bit. So essentially what we have here is 6 USPSA targets. We're going to start about the center of this array of targets, run from one side to the other. You'll have 2 targets to shoot from either side and 2 targets to shoot through the middle. We will be taking time with our shot timer here, and we'll also do some math. So every single one of these targets is going to require 2 hits. This center zone right here is the A zone. Those are worth 5 hits. Outside of there is the C zone. Those will be worth 3 points. And the D zone out here is worth 1 point, with misses taking 5 points away. So we'll have our time, we'll have our points from our targets, and then we will divide the amount of points that we got by our time, so points per second, to give us what's known as a hit factor. So that's how this will be scored. Again, 6 targets, 12 rounds, starting in the middle. Should be a lot of fun. 682, 2 alpha, 2 alpha, 2 alpha, 2 alpha, 2 alpha, alpha, Charlie. So 1 Charlie, 682. Still a little bit of room for improvement, but pretty happy with that. All right, we're clear. Time is 10:84. We'll take a look at how Jordan did. So a little bit slower than me, but shooting was good. 2 alphas, 2 alphas, 2 alpha, 2 alpha, Alpha Charlie, and Alpha Delta. So looks like Jordan lost 6 points. So he's 6 points down with a time of 10:84. We'll probably time is 14:83. We have 1 Charlie, alphas, 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 2 Charlie. So he lost 4 points. Right, time 10:04. Definitely shaved a lot off of your first run. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Charlies. So that will be losing 2 points apiece. So 10 points down. It'll be interesting to see how the math works out for everybody's runs, but we all got 2 runs in. Again, this has been a lot of fun, something very easy that you guys can do when you go out to the range with some friends, some coworkers. Set up something like this and have a little bit of fun, start trash talking a little bit. All right, guys, so that was a lot of fun today, right?
A good time.
Yeah, for sure. So what do you guys kind of think about the XCs?
It's an incredibly flat shooting gun. They kind of covered it earlier when we were going through some of the drills, but just like the plate rack, you shoot once and it just right down the line, no problem. The triggers, like we said in the beginning, the flat aluminum, I think is a huge upgrade over the factory one. By far the best gun I've personally ever shot.
I would have very, very similar thoughts. I know using cars as an allegory to guns is very, very cringe, but throwing a compensator on a handgun that doesn't already come with a compensator is kind of like throwing a whole bunch of new parts on a car that wasn't made for those. Whereas the XC with the compensator comes together as like a whole system. Like it was meant to be that way from the very beginning. It's like buying a supercharged car versus putting a supercharger on your Honda Civic. So it all works together very, very well. And like John said, it's super flat, super smooth. So you can really just hold the dot wherever you're shooting and mow down a line of steel or a control pair into the A's. It's awesome.
Yeah, and really the main thing that we wanted to highlight today is not only are these pistols extremely popular, but they spread through the workplace like a bad virus, right? We got one, another person bought one, another person bought one, another person bought one. So these are actually pistols that we all own, that we have all spent our money on, and that we use for various things. The Staccato XC has been very popular, not just at our workplace, but in a lot of different applications for a long time. As you can see, John, you've got yours outfit, essentially like a duty pistol. Staccato in general, but especially the XC, really does a good job at something like that. It is high capacity. It is easy to shoot. You can put a light on it. You can put an optic on it. You still do have backup iron sights. One of my favorite parts of these pistols is the optics mounting system itself. So you can put about any optic that you want. You still get backup iron sights, and it's very durable. Something in the middle, right? If you want to have a good duty pistol, but also you want to take it out to the range and, play some gun games or just have some fun. Obviously, Jordan, that's kind of what yours is outfit for, a little bit larger dot. That, again, speaks to the versatility of the optics mounting system. But if you want to go full tilt, a little bit crazy, obviously there's something like my Staccato XC. Since they are name brand 2011s, the aftermarket support for these products is tremendous. All right, you can do safeties, triggers, grips, mag wells, all these things and many, many more to kind of modify the pistol for your specific needs, which is a part of the appeal of the 2011 platform. It is great to shoot, but there's a lot that you can still do to it if you want to fine tune it for your particular application. So we all have these pistols. We all love these pistols. There's a lot of fun coming out today, kind of running head to head, working on some drills, kind of trying to improve upon ourselves. I think you saw generally build drills, shooting plate racks, and even shooting the mini stage. We all got better as we went, and it really kind of just speaks to how easy these pistols are to shoot and how versatile they are. No matter how you have one of these pistols kind of outfitted for your application, you can still go out, train, have a great time with it. So hope you guys had some fun today. I know we did. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll look forward to seeing you soon.